Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel and today we are going to be talking about all things Kindle Unlimited. If you do not know what Kindle Unlimited is, it is a monthly subscription service that gives you access to thousands and thousands, maybe even more, mostly self-published or indie published titles. There are some traditionally published books on there. I think there's some Jane Austen on there. I think that the Lord of the Rings series is on there. But for the most part, one of the bigger draws of Kindle Unlimited is it exposes you to a bunch of authors that chose to self-publish or indie publish. There is a plethora of genres on Kindle Unlimited, but what draws me to KU and what I think draws a lot of people to KU, and probably why you picked on this video, is the romance selection on KU is just so huge and vast and fantastic, and I feel like it's growing even more, and it has definitely opened my eyes to the romance genre as a whole and how I view it, and I found some incredible books on there. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about my Kindle Unlimited recommendations. If you are looking to get into KU, if you want some guidance, some recommendations, I have multiple recommendations from different subgenres of romance. And then I also wanted to talk about my Kindle Unlimited TBR. I have a huge Kindle Unlimited TBR, probably like 40, 50 books long. I'm not gonna go through all of those. I'm just gonna go through like my immediate Kindle Unlimited TBR. I am planning to read most of these books in the next month or two, I would say. So let's first talk about my Kindle Unlimited recommendations. If you are new to KU, I absolutely recommend any of these to get you started. So my number one recommendation on KU, my number one recommendation for a romance companion series is going to be the Twisted series by Anna Huang. I feel like this is the perfect like gateway series into Kindle Unlimited. I think that each book has romance that everyone could enjoy, and it's a really, really fun story, really sweet, has heart, has good spice, has a little bit of everything. So there are 4 books in the series: Twisted Love, Twisted Games, Twisted Hate, and then Twisted Lies, which just came out. Confession time. I have only read Twisted Games and Twisted Hate. The reason for that being, I was contemplating reading Twisted Love, which is the first book in the series, and you don't technically have to read the books in order. They are companion series, they follow a different best friend, but when I was considering reading Twisted Love, I just saw a lot of horrible things about it. I saw people recommending that you just skip it. Like, I kind of got scared out of reading it. I'm easily influenced, so I was like, okay, great, I'm just gonna skip it. And so I started with Twisted Games, which I absolutely loved. I gave it 4 stars. And then I read Twisted Hate, which I gave 5 stars. I just read Twisted Hate, I think a week or 2 ago at this point, and it is my favorite romance of the year thus far. Like, absolutely 5 stars, the best enemies to lovers in a contemporary setting that I personally have ever read, and I really, really enjoyed it. So I am going to be reading the 4th and final installment of the Twisted series in August. That is Twisted Lies. But before I do that, I am going to go back and read Twisted Love. I was a hater, I will admit that, but I think I'm just gonna give it a shot. I'm just gonna read it. I'm expecting to maybe give it like 3 stars, but the reason that I'm deciding to go back and read it is because I love books 2 and 3 so much, and I'm very excited for book 4. And book 4 is especially long, not only because it follows Christian and Stella's story, but Anna Huang did say on her Instagram that it's kind of got this epilogue novel-esque feeling about it. You wrap up all of the romances and the characters and everything. So I just feel like I need to read Twisted Love in order to have the full emotional experience of leaving these characters. And I figure, you know what, like, even if it's a 3-star romance, at least I'll know the backstory of Alex and Ava. So absolutely, as of right now, from the romances that I have read on KU, that is my number 1 recommendation. 10 out of 10. It is amazing. I love Anna Huang's writing, and it's just such a fun series. My next Kindle Unlimited recommendation is going to be none other than the Zodiac Academy series. This series is by Susan Valenti and Caroline Peckham. I believe they are sisters. This is a bully fantasy romance series. It follows twins, Tori and Darcy Vega. They are orphans living in Chicago until one day a man comes to them and says, hey, you guys are actually heirs to a fae throne in this other realm called Solaria. You need to come to the Zodiac Academy to hone your skills, to claim your power, and potentially take the throne. Once they get to Zodiac Academy, they meet the 4 heirs who were assumingly going to take the throne because the Vega twins were gone, and these 4 heirs are very unhappy that the girls are back, so they try to do everything in their power to get them to leave. So, as I said, this is a bully romance. I'm going to tell you right now, if you don't like bully romances, I do not recommend this series to you. The bullying is pretty intense, especially in the earlier books. I like a bully romance. I think it's fun, and it was really interesting to see in a fantasy setting. So there are 7 books in the Zodiac Academy series. The 8th one comes out in December, so now is like the perfect time to start the series, start binging it. It is extremely bingeable, and then be all caught up by December when the 8th book comes out. Now, I will just say, A lot of people hate on the Zodiac Academy series. They say it's cringy. They say that the writing is bad. They say that like they don't understand the hype, whatever. Those are like all fair critiques. I just think that the Zodiac Academy series is really fun. I'm not going into the Zodiac Academy series, and I don't think you should either. I don't think any of us should be going into the Zodiac Academy series ready to critically analyze this fantasy romance series. It's just fun. It's addicting. It is bingeable. It is over the top sometimes, but it's really, really fun, and I did grow to love these characters. I have said this from the beginning. I've said this from book one. I compare this series to like the Vampire Diaries on the CW. Not in the content, but the Vampire Diaries had some cringy writing, had some cringy acting, just overall, just, you know, funny, just kind of ridiculous moments at times. But we all loved it. We all have rewatched it many times. I don't know about you guys, but I have rewatched the Vampire Diaries a lot. I recognize the cringe, I acknowledge it, but I love it, and I will be standing to Lena until the day that I die. I just think like go into it knowing it's just gonna be fun, super addicting, super bingeable, and don't take it that seriously. If you don't think about it too hard, you'll have a great time. All right, and then for sports romance. Sports romance is a huge subgenre on Kindle Unlimited. There are so many. My favorite sports romance that I have read thus far though is the Dirty Air series by Lauren Asher. The Dirty Air series is an F1 sports romance. I absolutely love F1. It is the only sport I care about, and I love it so much. So when I heard that there was an F1 romance series, I was like, oh, yep, absolutely have to try it out. There are 4 books in the series. Once again, they are companion series. I've only read the first 2 books, and that is Throttled and Collided. Throttled is the first book, and I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. It was so sweet. It follows Noah and Maya. It's kind of like a brother's rival, brother's teammate romance. It was really, really fun, and also as somebody who loves F1, I appreciate that Lauren Asher took the time to like fully understand the sport, and I think it's explained very well in the books, which was really fun to read about and just made the reading experience all that more interesting. It was a really sweet, fun, light romance. There's also a big aspect of travel because F1 is an international sport. Their races are in different locations all over the world, so if you like that, I definitely recommend that as well. So as I said, I gave the first book, Throttled, 4 stars. I did give the second book, Collided, 2 stars. The reason I did that was because it was a little bit insta-lovey for me, and also the female main character unfortunately suffered from not like other girls disease, quirky girl syndrome, so I couldn't root for them really. But there are 2 more books in the series. I'm absolutely planning on reading them. We have met the men that those 2 books are going to follow, and I love them, and I'm excited, so I do think I will like books 3 and 4 as well. Okay, my next Kindle Unlimited recommendation is going to be The Brutal Prince, which is the first book in the Brutal Birthright series by Sophie Lark. This is a mafia romance companion series once again. I think there are like 5 or 6 books. There's quite a few in this series, and what I appreciate about this is if you were like me, I was kind of nervous to dive into the mafia world. That is also a pretty vast subgenre in the KU romance world, but I wanted to try it out and I wanted to see. So The Brutal Prince is the first book in the Brutal Birthright series, and it follows mafia families, Irish mafia, Polish mafia, and Italian mafia living in Chicago, and basically members from different mafias have romance stories, and there's a lot of tension. There's obviously like the crime aspect sort of happening on the outskirts of the story. What I appreciate is it wasn't ever really too dark. It was pretty tame, I would say. It really did focus on the romance, obviously because of the different mafias. You have a little bit of forbidden love or enemies to lovers situations happening. I didn't find it to be too intense or too just, I don't know. I think it's a good starter mafia book. If you are interested in getting in, if you want to get your toes wet into the mafia world, I would try out The Brutal Prince. I really like Sophie Lark's writing style. I love that her main characters are always very strong women, and I really appreciate it in the first book. Our couple gets into a little bit of a situation, and our female main character ends up saving our male main character. So I really appreciated that, and I definitely recommend. Another book on KU that I definitely recommend is going to be Pestilence by Laura Thalassa. So this is a quartet companion series, and it follows the 4 horsemen. They come down to Earth as men and wreak havoc and fall in love. I've only read the first book in the series, and that is Pestilence, as I said. And yeah, Pestilence comes down, does his thing on Earth, and this human girl thinks, I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna try to save the world. She finds out that he cannot be killed, and he ends up taking her as prisoner. It is such a fun and light story. I know that that description sounds dark, but it's really not. It's so, when I read it, I compared it to like Tarzan and Jane, because Pestilence learns about humanity through spending time with our main character, and she kind of just learns about like what it's like to be him and what he's had to go through, and it's a really fun and very strangely sweet story. I definitely recommend. I think it's a very like light, low fantasy romance, so if you are interested in getting into it but you're not really sure where to start, I think this is a good one. It was just fun. I gave it 4 stars. I had a really, really good time with it. I have not read the other books in the series yet, but some of my friends have. They've enjoyed them. them, and I definitely plan to get to the rest of them sometime this year. My next KU recommendation is another fantasy romance, and it will come as no surprise to anyone. The Song of the Marked by S.M. Gaither and A Twist of the Blade, which are part of the Shadows and Crowns series. So this is a fantastic fantasy romance series on KU. It is probably my favorite that I've found so far, either this one or the next one I'm going to talk about, but it's just like very classic fantasy romance. We have enemies to lovers, we have gods, we have journeys, we have funny side characters, we have a big twist at the end. It's a really, really interesting story. I enjoyed it so much, and I was totally shocked by the ending when I read it. Our main character's name is Cassia. She lives in a kingdom where there is a plague going around. Everyone dies from it, but she somehow survived. This is a very strange and rare thing, so she kind of tries to disguise herself so nobody knows that she is one of the survivors, otherwise known as Fade Marked, because people are trying to find a cure, but she doesn't really want to be involved because she's worried that they might just kill her. While Cassia is on one of her mercenary missions, she actually ends up getting kidnapped by the royal captain of the guard named Elander, and once she's taken back to the castle, she meets the crown prince, and he actually wants to have her and Elander team up and go on a journey and try to figure out a resolution for the plague. He also theorizes that maybe the gods are involved, so gods play a really big role in this story, and I love that so much. Give me any fantasy story with angry gods and I am here for it, and enemies to lovers goodness ensues. I absolutely recommend it. It is such an easy, bingeable, fly through book, and then I just read the second book, A Twist of the Blade. It was a really great follow-up. I gave the first book 5 stars and I gave this book 4 stars just because I kind of thought that we were going one direction with the romance, but it sort of went a different direction and it kind of threw me off, but I'm not mad at it. I'm still going to continue on with the series. It just wasn't as good as the first book, but I definitely recommend it. I'm going to be reading the 3rd book in August, and I'm really excited to keep continuing on with this series. All right, and my last KU recommendation, but certainly not least, is probably like the most famous and well-known fantasy romance series that popularized on KU, and that is the Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy. So we have Gild, Glint, Gleam, and then the 4th book, Glow, just came out. This is a King Midas retelling. We follow our main character. Her name is Orin. She is completely gold from head to toe. Orin lives in the castle with King Midas in a cage as his kind of chosen one. I don't even really know how to talk about the rest of the series. It gets crazy, it gets wild due to some political circumstances. Orin and some of the other people at the castle have to leave, go on a journey, go somewhere else. There is meddling between these different kingdoms, and some crazy things are revealed. Definitely check out trigger warnings for the entirety of this series, especially the first book. The first book does have some dark scenes, but overall, I really enjoyed the series. I love Raven Kennedy's writing style. I think she's fantastic. I'm really excited to read Glow. I haven't picked it up yet, but it's the 4th book in the series, and I think there's going to be 5 total, so I'm very excited to get to it. I've heard nothing but amazing 5-star things about Glow, so I'm very excited to read it. Okay, so now I'm going to be talking about what is on my KU TBR. As I said, there's a ton, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but these are the books that just have been on my mind that I'm definitely thinking about picking up soon. Some of these books I will be reading this month. I'm not going to say which ones though, but I will be doing reading vlogs for them, so you guys will get to see that. I also just want to share these with you guys so that they can be put on your radar and you can add them to your TBR as well. So the first book on Kindle Unlimited that I'm dying to get to is Marriage for One by Ella Mays. This is a marriage of convenience romance, which I have not read enough of those in my life. I don't even know when the last Marriage of Convenience romance that I read. It's been a while. It's been a while, but I'm very excited. I see a lot of people say that this is an incredible romance, 4 5-star ratings. I'm really looking forward to it. Also, the main characters' names are Jack and Rose, like Titanic, which I think is just perfect, and I'm really looking forward to getting to this one. I also do want to say some of these books I know a lot about, and some of these books I know close to nothing about. I'm kind of just gonna rattle them off, and however much I know about them is however much I'm going to tell you. I don't like to look super deep into synopses before I read a book. So there is, like, I'm looking at the Marriage for One page on Kindle Unlimited, and there's like a 6-paragraph synopsis. I don't want to read that because I feel like that's giving me too much information. So just letting you know, I will try to hit the tropes and the highlights, but I'm not going to get too deep into the book descriptions. The next book on my KU TBR is definitely going to be There Are No Saints by Sophie Lark. I am so curious about this book. I'm nervous, but I see so many people say that they love this. I think it was on a lot of people's best book of the year last year. Maybe not like their best book of the year, but like top 3. I saw so many people love it. I'm nervous about it because if you don't know, There Are No Saints, and then I think the second book is There Are No Sinners, is a serial killer romance, which I'm excited for. I'm here for. I'm ready. Like, I want to get into it and see what all the hype is about. I really hope I love this one. Also because the special edition covers with like the black and white snake is so gorgeous, and I want to buy it so badly, but I'm making myself wait. I'm going to read it on Kindle Unlimited first on my Kindle and see if I like it. it, but I'm really excited and I do like Sophie Lark's writing style, so I'm looking forward to trying it out. Another Sophie Lark series that I definitely want to try is the Kingmaker series, I believe it's called. This is basically a mafia academy romance companion series where people in the mafia send their children to this academy to learn how to be like ruthless and mafia people and all of that, and I just think it sounds fun. I love a school setting as long as it is like secondary education, like college level. I'm just very, very excited to read this. I think that there are 5 or 6 books in the series. I actually think that she just completed it, so I'm really looking forward to this. I don't know, I think it's gonna be amazing, and I think that the first book is a friends to lovers situation, which I'm so excited for. Also, honorable mention, once again, Queen Sophie Lark. She is working on an Anastasia retelling. That's all I know, but I need to put that on your radar if you didn't know. She is working on a Anastasia retelling, so I'm so excited for that. I think it comes out maybe in the fall. The next book on my KU TBR is the Devil's Night series by Penelope Douglas. I feel like this is sort of an iconic KU series. Penelope Douglas definitely has a ton of popular and well-loved books here on BookTube. I've only read one book by them, and that was Punk 57. Wasn't a fan, but I'm willing to give Penelope Douglas another shot. I want to try more of their books and just see what else is out there. So the Devil's Night series, I believe, follows a group of men went to jail, and when they get out of jail, they basically decide to take revenge on the either girl or girls that they believe put them there. So I think it's definitely bully romance, dark, intense, check trigger warnings. I don't know. I'm wanting to kind of push myself and read some darker romances just because I'm curious. I'm curious. I might regret my decision later, but I'm very excited to read this. It does just sort of feel like classic dark romance KU. You have to read it. So I'm looking forward to trying it out. And then one more Penelope Douglas book that I definitely want to read is Birthday Girl. You guys know this is so popular on BookTube, and I really want to try it. So this book is about a girl who, I think her boyfriend basically sucks, and she ends up falling into a relationship with his dad. So definitely a taboo romance, one that I've not really dabbled into that subgenre of romance, but once again, I'm excited. I've heard nothing but fantastic things, and I'm excited. I need to know what all the hype is about. The next book on my Kindle Unlimited romance TBR is Ivy by Willa Nash. This book sounds incredible. It is like a Gossip Girl romance, and there's like thrilling mystery aspects. I believe 3 roommates go to this very elite university, and they are like super rich, which I love stories about like terrible rich people, so I'm very excited for this. I imagine there's going to be 3 books if there's 3 girls living together and following their romances, but I just know it has Gossip Girl vibes, thrilling suspense vibes, so I think it's going to be really fun. The next book that I really want to read on KU is Faking with Benefits by Lily Gold. This book's pitch is new girl, but it's reverse harem. If Jess had dated all 3 of the guys, that is what this is. It sounds amazing. The cartoon cover is so cute and so pretty, so you guys already know. I'm sure it's very spicy, but yeah, that's basically all that I've seen. It is a girl who needs help with dating because she hasn't had much luck, and her 3 male roommates decide, hey, we'll help you out, we'll take you out, we'll practice dating, and then reverse harem happens. So I'm excited. I've never read a reverse harem. I'm really curious about it. My friend Cami absolutely loves them, and I trust her implicitly, so I'm excited to try this and see what I think. Okay, and then the last contemporary romance on my Kindle Unlimited TBR hasn't come out yet. I don't even think we have a specific release date yet. The first book in the series is coming out in October, and I just have to shout it out because it is once again my girl Anna Huang. She is writing a billionaire romance series based on the 7 Deadly Sins, which sounds amazing. I am so excited. The first book is going to be Wrath, so I think each book is going to be called King of Wrath and then King of Lust and so on and so forth. I cannot wait. This series also exists in the same universe as the Twisted series, and the main character of King of Wrath is actually a character that we met in Twisted Hate. So I'm really excited. I'm very intrigued. I'm so curious how she's going to do like sloth or gluttony. I don't know. I think it's going to be super interesting though. I will read anything that Anna Huang publishes. So I'm very excited and will absolutely be picking that up as soon as it gets released in October. All right, and then I have 2 fantasy romance. I have more, but these are the 2 that I am most excited for. The first one is Between Wrath and Mercy. I forget the author's name, but I will have a picture up here. So I don't know too much about this book once again, but I know that we have a female main character who is a 34-year-old single mother, which I absolutely love because I feel like every single fantasy romance main character is like 18, and I really appreciate that we have someone who is a little bit older, hopefully a little bit more mature, a little bit more experienced, and she also is a mother. So her daughter ends up getting kidnapped because people believe that her daughter is like a prophecy to save the kingdom. She doesn't want her daughter to be sacrificed for this though. She has to team up begrudgingly with a crown prince who she has been very estranged from. I don't know their history, but they kind of have to go together to save her daughter. It sounds sounds really, really sweet, really cute, and I'm just excited to see the political intrigue. I know that there are lots of different kingdoms involved and princes involved, so I'm excited to try it out. And then the last book on my Kindle Unlimited romance TBR for now is The Book of Azrael by Amber Nicole. I'm very excited to read this one. I'm trying to lower my expectations for this book because it just sounds absolutely amazing. The thing that draws me to this book the most is we have a morally gray female main character, which I want more of. Like, that is my bread and butter. Like, I need more of that, and I'm really, really excited to see how this one plays out. Our main character's name is Diana. She, like 1,000 years ago, gave up her life to save her sister, but she's been reborn and is now right-hand woman to the king of monsters. And then our love interest is also a god who has wreaked havoc on the world forever, and he basically has kept himself in hiding, isn't interested in going out and doing these things anymore, but Diana and him have to team up to save the world. Something bad is happening. They hate each other, but they have to work together, and they have literally thousands of years of history together. So I think it's going to be amazing, really fun. The cover's beautiful. I'm excited. All right, so that is it. That is it for my Kindle Unlimited recommendations and TBR. Let me know if you have read any of the books on my TBR, if you recommend them, ones that I should get to first, ones that you didn't so much enjoy. I would love to hear your opinions. I have very high hopes for all of them. If you made it to the end of this video, go ahead and leave the fire emoji because it is literally 85 degrees in my house right now. I am not okay. I'm sorry if I look sweaty, but also because KU romances are very spicy and hot and fiery. As always, my Instagram and my Goodreads are linked down below. You are welcome to follow me on there anytime. Make sure if you enjoyed this video to give it a thumbs up. It really helps me out, and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate that you watched this video. I hope you are having a fantastic day, and I will catch you guys in the next one.